Good evening, Facebook, everybody that's joining me on Transformation at the Core. I'm a little bit late right now. Gosh, what a week it's been. I've debated back and forth on whether or not I go live today. As you can probably tell, I'm not in my normal attire. I am not all done up. Actually, reason why I was late, we're having a crazy snowstorm right now in Toronto, and I had to drive Ella and Noah to soccer practice and bring them home along with a friend. And as we pull into the driveway, they looked at me and they said, "Mommy, are you doing your show tonight?" And I said, "Yeah." They're like, and my son goes, "But Mommy, you don't have your makeup on." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." I said, tonight I don't care so much. And my daughter jumps over the front seat and says, "Mom, you don't care? Since when don't you care?" And since this week has been really, really tough. And as I said, I actually the last 24 hours it's a bit of a blur and a bit surreal. So my father-in-law passed away yesterday afternoon, so it's been a really rough 24 hours. And as I said, I debated whether or not I wanted to actually do a live today. I first of all decided to do it because I didn't want to let anybody who's used to seeing my lives down. Secondly, I wanted to do this live because I was really quite taken back by the experience that we had in the hospital. And with this being a show about customer experience and patient experience, I really wanted to share with everyone who watches the fact that, process and compassion, when you mix them together, they turn a transaction into an interaction, and they can turn an experience that is already quite awful into one that, while doesn't take away pain, can at least soften it. And the experience at the hospital was less than that. And it really bothered me. And the more and more that I thought about it over the last 24 hours, really urged me myself to get on this show with you today. So there's just a couple of things that I wanted to, from a customer experience standpoint, that I wanted to share. A patient experience, a family's experience when they're going through something terrible like a loss. And the social worker at the hospital yesterday walked about 15 feet ahead of us as we tried to find a room to sit privately to discuss kind of our options and what our next steps were going to be and what was going on. And we ended up, as I said, she walked about 15 feet in front of us. The first room we went to, which was all the way on the other side of the wing, was taken. And then she brought us to a staff kitchen filled with team members' belongings. And we had the conversation there. It was just not the greatest. There was really no compassion. There was no thought process. There was no anticipating the family's needs. And I think that's the biggest thing that they were missing in the whole experience is being anticipatory. And when you're in a situation like that, I mean any customer experience, but when you're in a situation where you've got a family or family members dealing with a loss, anticipating their needs is one of the only things that you should be focusing on. So if you know that they need to have a private room, anticipating the fact that they're going to not want to walk through the hospital to two different areas, pre-booking the room, making sure that the room, that you show that family is a priority to you in that moment, and that the you're not in a staff kitchen. So anticipating those needs, and if you anybody in the medical industry that watches this, or I mean really any industry, you just don't know what's going on in your customers, your patients, or your family members' heads at that moment or any moment. And so doing everything you can to anticipate their needs really goes a long, long way. It was really quite an awful experience. And so I wanted to just share that. And this live is not going to be very long. To be honest, I'm super tired. I don't know if you can see it in my eyes. As my daughter said, "Oh my gosh, Mommy, you don't care." No, today, not so much. But if there is anyone out there that is going through a loss, going through a hard time, forget about customer, just people, humans. Look at them as a human and see how you can do whatever is possible to make it easier for them and anticipate their needs, so that they don't have to think, that they feel taken care of, and that their needs are met, and they can concentrate on dealing with or handling the feelings that they don't even know how to handle. Anyway, the last 24 hours has been a whirlwind, and it's definitely, I didn't want to cancel my show. I definitely, thank you, Anthony. Thank you for having my back. I didn't want to cancel my show. As I said, I questioned myself, and I actually asked a whole bunch of friends and mentors whether or not I should do this show and go live, just 24 hours after everything has happened. But I think that being vulnerable, and I think that, making sure, and I'm going to see what other comments we've got going on here. Thank you, Anthony. It's, I think being vulnerable and, putting it out there that life isn't easy and life throws you curveballs, and it is. Like today, for example, I had my entire family, or my husband's family, over, cooked them dinner. The snow starts falling. Thank you, Monica. Falling pretty hard. But the kids got to go to soccer. We missed Noah's soccer practice, but I took him anyway so he could practice with Ella's team, picked up Ella's friend, and that's why I'm late. So that my husband can be home with his mom and his family, and my friend, and I'm going to totally pull up my phone right now because somebody that I care very much about, Whitney, she's a dear friend of mine, customer experience. She's awesome, but she's definitely somebody I lean into a lot. And she said to me today, what did she say here? She goes, "Your life never sleeps." And I don't think life ever does sleep. If it's not, the way how busy we are in this world, God, life throws you curveballs constantly. And if we can't be honest with each other, if we can't be honest with ourselves, then what's the point? What's the point of not being open and, especially knowing that, for myself, that there's, 1,000 people that will end up viewing this, and I could possibly reach just one person that is going through a difficult time and let them know that they're not alone. Actually, I was scrolling through Facebook at the practice, and I'd seen somebody post that they lost their mother, and it's just, everybody's going through something, and everybody has a story, and we just get so caught up in our day-to-day lives, on this proverbial hamster wheel that we're on, that we forget to slow down. We forget to be human, and we forget to ask how somebody else is doing. And because of that, we end up getting hit with these curveballs because we're not paying attention. We are not paying attention to the world, our world around us, or the world of others, because we're so caught up with our blinders on. again, I don't have this plan. There is not a post-it note in sight. I may very well be babbling. But I wanted to come on here and say, look, everyone's going through something at this moment in time. We need to be more human. We need to practice a more humanized approach. We need to, if somebody is hurting, we need to anticipate those needs. We need to find out what they need and what we can do to help those people through their difficult time. The one thing I'll share about, my father-in-law, and I'm going to try really hard not to cry right now. I'm going to be very unsuccessful at this. He was the kindest person I've ever met. The person that would do anything for anybody with zero expectation of something in return. We need more people like that in this world. We need more people that are going to step out of their comfort zone and be uncomfortable because it's the right thing to do versus what feels right, versus what is right for us. It's the right thing for someone else. And for those who are in the medical field, from a patient experience standpoint, when you're caring for patients or those family members that are dealing with a loss, if anybody in the medical world watches this, or anybody that watches this knows somebody who treats patients and their family members through times of need, urge them to slow down and to think about how they can make the experience easier for the family members and the patients. Now, the one thing when I spoke about this to some of my friends, are like, oh, budgets in the healthcare system. But the things I'm pointing out don't take more money. They don't take more people, and they don't take more time. They take thought. They take a humanized approach. And it would have literally taken this woman, an extra 5 minutes to find a room before she came and got us, before we had the conversations, instead of traipsing us through the hospital. Anticipate the needs of others before yourself. And if any of you ever meet my son one day or happen to have a interaction with him, I want you to ask him this question. Ask him, who are the Maras? What are they? What does the Maras family stand for? And the response you'll get for him is, we are nice people. We put others before ourselves. And I think that's what I'm going to leave you with today, right now, is that when you wake up, before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, when you interact with people, slow down, take a step back, think about the person you're interacting with, because everybody has a story. And be a nice person. Put them before your needs. And if you could do that, even just in the honor of my father-in-law, who would most literally stop, my husband was sharing these stories with me last night. He would stop at a Home Depot and help somebody who needed help with their car. Get out of your comfort zone so you can help somebody else feel comfortable. And grow from it and learn from it and do it without expectation. Anticipate people's needs. Be human. And when I hang this up, I'm going to go upstairs and chill out with my mother-in-law and my husband and my 3 kids. We'll all be bunkered in one room somehow, all 6 of us between 2 beds. And just be kind. Sandy, thank you. I love you too. Be kind. Just be kind and love and give love and be open to receiving love and think of others. Think of others. Do for others without expectation. And if you have a family and you watch this live at any point in time, even the replay, press the pause button right now or exit out and go give them a hug. go do something kind for someone else. All right, I think that's all I got right now. Thanks, Ty, for your condolences. I really appreciate it. But go spread that love to someone else. And in honor of my father-in-law, go do something nice for someone else without expectation. Thank you for joining me tonight.